Hey, welcome to Cat's Bookend. I wanted to have a discussion today about this Lord of the Flies controversy that's out there. So, apparently, Lord of the Flies by William Golding, which was made into a movie as well, about a bunch of boys whose plane crashes on an island and they revert from civilized to savagery. Apparently that is now going to be a movie with all females in the cast, and 2 males want to do it that way. I'm not so sure about that, and the thing is you can't really have a discussion on this without people saying, oh, you're putting stereotypes on a male, you're putting stereotypes on a female, that's not fair. It's really hard not to do in a discussion like this. And that's all this is a discussion. This is not meant to piss anybody off. And, you know, I even am just giving my opinions. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is any good or you should listen to it. It's just an opinion. I'm not telling you how the world should be. It's just a discussion, really, that I think is rather interesting. Basically, this book, Lord of the Flies, is about savage, toxic masculinity that gets the best of the boys. Okay? Now, to build a film around a story like that critiques the patriarchy and toxic masculinity that's shoved onto boys at a young age, I think that if you give that to all females, all young girls, it's missing the point of the novel entirely. And William Golding himself has said some things about this, because he says that he's asked all the time why he made it all boys. And he says that the story has nothing to do with equality. Nothing whatsoever to do with equality. He says, in fact, that women are foolish to pretend that they're equal to men because women are far superior and always have been. This is a quote from William Golding, okay? I'm not saying it, but he says that women are far superior to men and always have been when it comes to the way they would behave in certain situations. I'm not so sure I agree with that 100%. Because as a female, I've seen just how nasty and malignant other females can be. But I'm wondering what Golding is saying here. Is he actually saying that females wouldn't behave in the way that the males would? That the females wouldn't revert to savagery like that? I myself can't see it, because most females, and yes, this is a stereotype, let's just say a lot of females. I know that there are a lot that aren't like this, but a lot of females are like, oh, my nails, and oh, I don't want to get dirty. I'm sure that that would change if they were marooned on an island for a long period of time. But I'm just saying that maybe some people might think that because a lot of females are like that, that it wouldn't be believable for them to revert to savagery. It's just a point of discussion is all it is. Okay, so, as I was saying, he didn't mean for it to be all females. He meant for it to be all males. And it seems to be missing the point entirely to make it all females. Because Golding believes that these boys in the story, they're just mimicking what they see of adults in society and how they would behave. And then that's why what becomes of them on the island becomes of them. Well, I just don't see, personally, you can have this debate and you can talk about this as much as you want, but maybe what it boils down to is just sheer laziness. Because all those people in Hollywood want to do anymore is just take things that were already made, switch them up a little bit, and boom, they're done. It's just laziness. It's like they have no creativity. And just because you take an all-male cast and make it all female, that doesn't mean you did anything worthwhile necessarily. It might be interesting to see how 2 males perceive that females would act in a situation like that, but I think that they're on very, very shaky ground. Personally, I think that they saw all that stuff about the female Ghostbusters. Everybody was all up in arms about it, and they didn't like it, but yet everybody went to go see it. And a lot of them hated it, but they still went to go see it, and the movie made money. And I just have this suspicion that that's what these two guys want to do. They don't want to be creative, and they want to make money. And I don't know if it could be that Hollywood is just trying to overcompensate these days. Oh, the women want to be, treated with respect, and they want equality, so let's overdo it and let's make every movie in Hollywood now all about women and make the cast all women. I don't know. It just seems like that's what they've been messing with lately. And again, I don't think that that's necessarily a very successful way to go. I really don't. People will go see whatever movie you put out there. You could say all you want. You could say, oh, this kind of movie won't make money. But if you don't make movies like that, then people won't get exposed to it, and it'll look like all they want are these other movies, when in fact, those are the only things that were available to them. So I really do think that Hollywood could be more creative. They don't have to make all these remakes. They can, come up with original, fresh stories. And I guess they think that making it female is going to be, quote-unquote, fresh. I don't know. I seriously do not know. And then, of course, this has to be brought up. This is like the elephant in the room. Many males will say, oh, those women will kill each other because, PMS and their menstrual cycle. But then a lot of people say that women can handle things like that, like the menstrual cycle and childbirth, and men can't. So either way, you have stereotypes. We don't need to say that, oh, all men act a certain way. They're just, they're going to be savages. But then we don't need to say that, oh, all women are feminine and they're nurturing. It's a rough discussion. I just don't see where, it's not black or white. This discussion is in no way black or white. Well, anyway, my point is they overdo their portrayal of women in Hollywood. And I just feel like if you want to show women in books and in movies in a more respectable light, don't try so hard. Because it seems to me like writers and filmmakers alone, see, I'm branching off into a different discussion here. This has a lot to do with Lord of the Flies and all females. But I feel like what I'm about to say needs to be said as well when it comes to books and movies. They overcompensate because they're making overly aggressive women. They're making these women who are like, men don't even act like the way they make these overly aggressive women in the movies. And it's like they're trying to be like, oh, these guys, they're going to like her. This is going to be like their wet dream because this aggressive, tough woman. And I think that turns a lot of men off. I hear a lot of men complaining, and yeah, I know some male chauvinists too, that are just totally behind the times in how they should be treating women. Okay, they don't get it. Not all men are like that, but I have met some. But putting those people aside, think about it. Think about some of the movies, some of the books you've read lately, the movies you've watched lately, and think about the women in it. I watched Midnight Texas today, and there's this blonde woman with brass knuckles beating up innocent guys because she's suspicious of them, and stripping his clothes and, terrorizing him because she's suspicious of him. What? Do men find that hot? Is that why they're putting that in there? Do they think that that empowers women? No. And then they make women bitchy, and the women are like, It's obvious that I'm better than you, I'm tougher than you, anything you can do, I can do better. And it's a turnoff. I'm telling you, it's not just a turnoff to men, it turns women off too. Because women wouldn't like a person like some of these characters. If you want to make a really strong female characters, a really strong female character, that is, excuse me, look at the story Wool and the way the heroine was written there. And even this book that I didn't like as much, The Deep, the way a woman is written in that book was good. That was fine. A likable woman, strong, not weak, not like, oh, save me, sir, save me, but yet not acting like a total, you know, this like super aggressive Amazon person who wants so bad to act like a man and be treated like a man. I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but that's what I see. And you're having the opposite effect of what you want, really. I think that doing that is kind of shaping people's opinions to the negative. I think that maybe that's why a lot of, you know, men are like, ooh, wait a minute, women. And even the ladies are like, I don't care for that type of a stereotype about me. That's not me. Make something more realistic. Because sometimes I think that they really are trying to give somebody some sort of a sexual fantasy when they create these characters. They're so unrealistic, so unbelievably unrealistic. There's many other characters that are fine, like I think that the character of Tarna in Heavy Metal, and if you haven't seen that, hurry up and see that. It's great. It's from the early 80s. It's an adult animated film, sci-fi. She was great because they didn't have her going around bad-mouthing everybody and talking shit. She just didn't talk at all. She just showed through her actions that she was a noble character. And I'm not saying that women can't talk in books and movies. That would be ludicrous. I'm just saying that they don't have to be the mouthy, obnoxious type that they're made. I watched a show the other day where they made this woman like a femme fatale type of character. She was like really selfish and all she cared about was herself. But I got the feeling that the people that were writing that script wanted us to like her and think that she was tough and a strong character. And to me, she came across as a bimbo. I'm talking about the series Hap and Leonard on Sundance and this stupid Trudy character that's on there. She just looked like a bimbo to me, and it stereotyped men. It made men, this particular show, made men look like all they care about is a gorgeous woman, and they will just be that woman's puppy dog, that woman's puppet. They'll do whatever. They'll be easily manipulated, and that's not good for men either. I mean, they shouldn't be writing men that way, and they shouldn't be making the woman look like this. This is not a strong character, a manipulating bitch that only cares about herself. And then they try to make it like, oh, she gets a nail in her hand on the table, and oh, she's just so strong, she still won't tell him where the money is because she's one tough cookie. And it was just so annoying. Not to mention the fact that they cast a woman with the hugest tits that I've ever seen. I'm sorry, I don't know a nicer way to say it. And they didn't look good. They looked odd. It was like out of place. My husband kept saying, oh my God, here come her boobs. It was like they came around the corner before she did. And I felt they did that as a stereotype, like, oh, the man is going to be like, yes ma'am, anything you want, because of her breasts. These are very negative stereotypes. So you don't need to do that, but you also don't need to overdo it and make them rubbing their superiority in the men's faces. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all. I'm trying. But these are some of the things I was thinking about when it came to this topic. Some of you might think I'm babbling, but I'm not. Believe me, I know I'm going somewhere with this topic, and I would like to know what some of you think of it as well, too. Okay? A lot of men aren't even like, I want to say this again, I can't say this enough. When they make these tough broads in books and movies, they're trying to make them like, oh, they're just as good as a man. Look, they can act like a man. But the thing is, men don't act like that. Men do not even act that way. Okay? So, I don't know. It's just a contradiction all around. Contradictions everywhere when it comes to male roles and female roles. And so, you have to, I think you have to go somewhere in between. Not the femme fatale bimbo. Not the bitch that thinks she's a man and that has a smart mouth and likes to put everybody down and irritate everybody. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen those brassy women in different shows, and to me they're annoying, okay? There needs to be somewhere in between. And again, I will say, if anybody wants to see a really well-written female character, it's in Wool and The Deep. And if you want to see a movie with a really good female character, it's Tarna in Heavy Metal. And you know what else? The movie You're Next. Yeah, that woman in the horror movie You're Next, she was tough, okay? But she didn't go about trying to be like, look at me, I'm so superior, I'm one tough chick. She wasn't like that. She was thrown into a situation where it just so happened that her past training helped her. And she was using it to save herself and to save other people. She wasn't trying to be like, I'm the tough one, I'm going to save all of you. Bow to me, listen to me, you're all cowards. No. No, she wasn't. She was very actually humble about it in the type of situation she was in. So, this is basically what I wanted to talk about today. I don't know if I made any sense. In my mind, I'm making sense, but I think that this is an interesting discussion. Alright, well, if you want to, let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, bye-bye.